Welcome to the Full Dive Gaming Podcast, bringing you a full dive of all the news, discussion, and insights you need for virtual reality gaming. This podcast is brought to you by Asterion Products. They're a top-selling company on Amazon. They design great products for VR and AR. Check out their Asterion Aura VR headset stand. I'm JBrat, a VR YouTuber and streamer.
And I am Natbrat, a VR enthusiast who feels bad shooting dancing people in Pistol Whip.
Well, you know our podcast. We're here to keep you up to date in the VR realm. We answer questions from our communities. We talk about the latest, greatest VR news. And then, of course, we discuss the games that we've been playing recently, if you couldn't tell that hint to one already. Of course, if you haven't seen our YouTube channel come out, we're sitting here face to face, so you can come hang out, engage with us through the comments, the likes, and all that YouTube stuff. We had some questions, of course, from our Discord. And the first one from Block here. Thoughts on Bonelab? Do you think it's going to be revolutionary, as some people, including of course, Block, are calling it? Rate your excitement on a scale of 1 to 10. I got to throw out there, of course, if you haven't heard of Bonelab, it's hard to imagine you're into VR and you don't know. But Boneworks was a game that came out a few years ago. It was almost more of a sandbox physics engine than a game, but it still had some game to it that you could play through, and it was really cool. But there was all kinds of stuff you could grab and move. The weapons had real physics to them. Now, Bonelab looks like a more bona fide real game that is coming to Oculus Quest later this year. And I'm gonna keep my excitement in check. I'm gonna give it about an 8 because it looks really good from the trailer, but I've been burned so many times. Nat, what do you think?
Okay, this is terrible, but I've heard people talk about Bonelabs a ton and blah blah blah, and you're saying, oh, you can't be in VR and not know this, but I'm like, I don't really know. Really, I don't up enough on certain games because I'm like, I don't really know. I just hear people say that it's cool.
You've expressed before that you're not super into VR shooters, and obviously the trailer shows a gun in hand, but it does look really cool. The trailer shows like these caves, and the lighting and everything looks really good. I didn't even realize it was a game like Boneworks for a while in the trailer. I feel like they purposely hid that kind of to build some excitement. So I don't know. I think if you're out there and you haven't heard of this, like now, you need to check out a trailer and see, because the trailer does look really good. It has me excited, but I just feel like so many times I've been really excited about a VR game, and now I just need one to show me again that it's going to deliver on that trailer. So hopefully Bonelab is the one.
Yeah, I think I saw the trailer, but promptly forgot it because it wasn't different or exciting enough. People are going to be mad at me.
Yeah. Ouch.
So we had another question from Shafedog, or actually 2 questions, a 2-parter here. What's your Mount Rushmore of VR games? And then on the flip side, what's the one game you heard so many positive things about, and when you tried it, you thought it was trash?
I think that's breaking into the same questions. I guess Shapedog is insinuating that if you actually go to Mount Rushmore, it sucks, but people say it's really good. So I think that's what they mean.
No. Because because he had examples, and the Mount Rushmore games were like good games.
Or were they ones like people said were good and Shafe thought they sucked? Shafe's a bit of a contrarian.
Oh, shoot. Well, you probably know better than I do then. I guess when I first looked at this question, I was thinking Mount Everest and not Mount Rushmore. And then I'm like, wait, Mount Rushmore's like the President Mountain.
Yeah, President Mountain. And apparently when you go there, it's not as cool as people think.
I think he means... take it away. You take it away.
I think he really means like Mount Rushmore. People say once you go, it's not as good in person as you think it's going to be. So I think it's the same thing.
Is that a thing people say about it?
I feel like I've heard that once or twice, but I don't live near enough to know. I've never been there. But
Mount Rushmore just makes me think of the movie Richie Rich. Anyway, okay.
So what's some games that people said were going to be really good and you tried it and you were disappointed?
Okay, first, I have to say I'm really sad that Shafedog said Astrobot was one for him, because Astrobot's amazing. Anyway, I feel like Res Infinite, I feel like some of these we've talked about before. I didn't play much of Res Infinite, but people were like, oh, this is the most amazing game and it'll change your life. And I tried it and it's like, okay, it's kind of cool, but not that cool. So I guess that's
Yeah,
mine.
Rez was one of them for me. Another one was Tetris Effect. Both of these games end up on people's top 10 best VR games list, best VR games of all times lists. And so I think by the time I'd heard that so much, I walked into both of them thinking I was going to have this amazing experience. And neither one is a terrible game. You know, they're both pretty.
Mhm.
They both have, obviously, it's Tetris. How can you go wrong with that? And then Rez, of course, is based off the old Rez, and people love that. So they're both fine games. And I don't think either one is an amazing example of what VR can do either.
Yeah.
So I think both of them for me, I wouldn't say it was quite trash, but it was like, it wasn't nearly living up to the hype that everyone else built on it.
Yeah. I, yeah, I think those are my main ones just cuz I don't see how those live up to the hype. But other ones that are really popular like Super Hot, Pistol Whip, Astrobot, those kind of games that have a lot of hype around them, I really enjoy. So,
Yeah. Yeah, they live up to it,
yeah,
I would say.
I think so.
So Polite had a question.
Mm.
Polite is newer to VR and asked, as someone who got into VR during the early Quest days, what did I miss? Like, what was the state of VR before I got into it? So pre-Quest, we're talking, of course, PSVR, Oculus Rift, and HTC Vive, basically the
Oh,
old era of VR. Now, what do you think Polite missed out on?
oh, Polite missed out on so much. Even the Gear VR. I know some people might laugh about talking about liking the Gear VR because it's so old and crappy now, but it was so cool. When Gear VR first came out, it was pretty new and it was cool to be on like the cutting edge, I guess. I guess not. I don't know. In the beginning of VR when it was still like new and exciting. And one of the things was like being able to show your friends, like you don't have a whole lot of people that had VR already, and just having better quality headsets. Not saying that the Quest 2 is terrible because it really is good, especially for, you know, the price point, but we were heading for better things before the Quest. So I think Polite, what you missed out on was like the excitement, seeing things getting better and things getting better more quickly back then. And then also just being able to show your VR to people that didn't really even know what it was really cool. You could probably talk more about that because you showed a lot of people VR.
Well, a lot of the things that Polite also missed was like it was the early days when people were still experimenting a lot.
Mm,
We didn't have pretty much every game use grip buttons to grab things
mm,
and triggers to shoot guns. You know, it was still a mess. Some
true.
games used really weird movement styles that weren't at all succinct with other games that were out. So it was a rough time in that way, but it also was cool because all kinds of companies were entering the space. Bethesda came in, of course, and dropped, Skyrim and Fallout VR. We got these huge titles. Half-Life Alyx was this like big deal when we found out that was coming to VR. It was like, this is going to push VR mainstream. But like you mentioned, we had a lot of companies trying to make bigger, better VR games because PC and PlayStation could handle it. And once Quest came in and took over the market, it's kind of like we
Mm,
aren't seeing much of that anymore. It's like all the
yeah.
developers kind of stepped away and said, okay, we'll let these little games come out, or if Facebook pays us to make a game, it'll come out. But otherwise, a lot of the big developers have kind of left the scene for a while, waiting for the strong enough hardware to make the games they actually want to make. So
Mm.
we're stuck with, Vacation Bubble Odyssey coming out on Quest 2, where you shoot
Oh,
bubbles at a puzzle or something until the next big
no.
Grand Theft Auto game or something that Facebook has helped paid for actually
Yeah.
comes out. So you missed a lot of experimenting, but you did also miss some good stuff. PlayStation VR and PC VR had some really big and incredible games. And if you get a chance to link up your Quest to your PC, I mean, go back and check out Asgard's Wrath, Lone Echo, Half-Life Alyx. Go back and check out these huge titles that haven't been made on Quest yet because Quest just can't handle it.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, there's been good and bad. The Quest 2 is an amazing piece of hardware, and it's made things really approachable. But instead of like making VR bigger, better, stronger, we went and made it really approachable and easy for everyone, which made us kind of take a step back in the games department for a while. So hopefully the next headset will change that. and get us some more stuff going, or at least that PSVR 2, because I want some more of those big story involved games again. It's been too long since I've found a VR game that pulls me in for hours on end.
Yes. Despite what Shafe Dog says, I am ready for some Astrobot too.
Yeah, yeah. Astrobot was
Shafe Dog.
beautiful, fun game. We got VR news to talk about, but before we go into the news, we got to tell you about our sponsor of the podcast. They've taken care of us for a long time, so we want to take care of them. Asterion Products. If you haven't checked them out on Amazon, their Asterion Aura VR headset stand has been on sale lately. $20, $25. And if you use code FULLDIVE10, you get another 10% off. It's beautiful RGB lighting. And I've got a bunch of them here on my desk because they're so nice. They hold your VR headset, or go check out their Vertex if you want something for your VR gaming headphones. Beautiful products. Speaking of the Quest 2 and stuff, Meta, or aka Facebook, has decided they're going to do something new. So you might have heard out there's now a Horizon Home. Horizon is just the word they smack on the front of everything. Basically, it's just a home environment like Steam Home or PlayStation Home back when that was the thing. It's an environment you walk into your headset and suddenly you're in your home that you've customized, but now you can bring other people in to come hang out with you in your home. And as part of that, they've now started a streaming option in your home where you can stream some Lionsgate movies right now. Lionsgate movies like Gods of Egypt 3D or Leprechaun, kind of random, obscure titles, but they're going to be changing these each month, they announced. And this is kind of a cool thing because it's almost stepping on Big Screen's toes. Big Screen is an app where you go into a private movie theater with your friends and you watch a movie or you watch YouTube together and hang out. Well, now Meta's making it so you don't even have to get into that app. You can just pop your headset on, be home, invite your friends over, and you can now watch a movie or something together in home.
Yeah, interesting, Meta. I feel like it's kind of interesting. I mean, it feels kind of mean to Big Screen, but of course, I feel like whenever something cool comes out, Meta's like, "We want that for us." And they like swallow up everything that's good and make it their own, basically. I know Big Screen's still kind of, I mean, not super mainstream, but it's a really cool app. So yeah, I just feel like Meta's trying to get in on it, have another thing that's part of their thing so they can listen to people while they're watching movies. Um, it's funny because during the pandemic, I really missed going to the movie theater because I love going to the movies and like just going somewhere to see a movie and like the feel when the audience is there and like everyone's reactions and stuff, especially when it's like a really good movie or like a big franchise or something, just like hearing the gasps and the laughs and the stuff is so fun. And I kind of wanted something like that in VR, but now that you can go to a movie theater again, I feel like I'd rather just go to the movie theater. I guess this is cool for like if you had a friend that was like far away, um, that you could watch a movie with. That would be cool. But
Yeah, it's offering you that. And I know that actually Big Screen and Facebook got in a little bit of a tussle back in the day. They were having some issues with their fees and movie rental costs. And this part, it's been a long time, so don't quote me on this, but I want to say that Meta actually tried to buy Big Screen or offered to buy Big Screen something, and they like refused. And then there's been these talks of how basically if Facebook tries to buy you and you say no, they'll destroy you. Uh, and so now here we are potentially seeing that outcome. If my memory's correct about that, we're seeing them be like, okay, how can we make a feature that's simpler? Because Big Screen is not super user friendly. You got to get in, you got to
yeah,
have like a friend code or
that's
a
true.
room code. It's not great. So they're like, we're just going to have this in your home ready to go. You just invite your Oculus friends straight over. You don't have to go through all this. And if they actually start adding a lot of ways to watch content, YouTube, other movies, good movies, then this could be the nail in the coffin for Big Screen. And that's what we've seen Meta do to tons of different companies. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen.
It's so sad. I feel like it's inevitable that we have to talk about Meta all the time on the podcast because just most of the VR stuff that's going on right now is on the Meta platform. But, you know, the Quest 2. But I feel like it's just getting kind of tiring talking about them all the time. And it's just sad to see the kinds of things they're doing like this. Like, other people should be able to, or other companies should be able to do stuff and be able to do it and not always have to get steamrollered by Meta. So I do
Should.
understand, like, yeah, they want to make their own thing that actually works well, and is user friendly, which is cool. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just in a hater mood. But it would be cool if I think about it and think about, like, oh, a friend that's far away. It'd be cool to be able to, like, watch a movie with them. Although I
Yeah.
still feel like for now, while the avatars are still kind of simple, I feel like we're still a ways away from it being super cool, but it's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Well, we can talk about something that's not meta for once. There was a
Yay!
recent announcement. There was a recent announcement about the Valve Index saying that it is still one of the best-selling products on Steam. It's 3 years old now. The Valve Index. It's still $1,000 as it was when it launched, which I think is kind of wild. Like that's
And when was
three-year-old
it that it
tech.
launched? Whew.
3 years ago,
3
over
years.
3 years ago.
Mm.
I mean, in the tech world, how often is something 3 years old and we're still paying the absolute full price without a single sale or anything? I mean,
Wow.
in the phone world, you wouldn't even hardly own a phone sometimes that's 3 years old, let alone this. But that being said, basically, even with the Quest 2 taking over Steam charts and everything, the index is still maintaining around 16% of all the headsets used on Steam, which is pretty good because that includes the
Mm.
Quest, that includes the cheaper Rift S that we had before, the Reverb G2, that includes every headset, and the Valve Index is still holding about 16% overall. One thing that I kind of want to discuss though about this, that some people would say, oh, that's a good thing that it's still holding on to that. I actually hear this and I think this is extremely negative, and I'll
Mm.
tell you why. 3 years after any headset came out, granted, it can be a revolutionary, amazing headset, but we should have had enough better stuff come out that
Mm.
it's not still one of the top headsets. And
True.
behind Meta headsets, Valve is the next highest, and then HTC with Windows Mixed Reality at the very bottom of the pack here.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 3 years, and because of Meta monopolizing the entire industry, we haven't gotten enough competitors in the space. So now basically you either own a Meta headset or maybe you own a Valve Index because you care about VR and you spent a little more money.
Mm. Dang it, we're talking about Meta again.
It just creeps into every conversation.
It really does. And yeah, that is a really good point. And kind of what even we talked about in the Q&A section is that Quest or Meta kind of killed that forward momentum that was happening because we were getting new headsets. We were getting innovations, and now Meta's killing all the innovations because they're cranking out what should be an $800 headset at $300 because they're mining everyone's information. And that's that extra $500 right there. This is a really hater episode.
We're also recording this episode much later at night than we normally ever
True.
do. So maybe that's part of the mood here, but yeah, it's frustrating because we love VR. Obviously, we're here on the podcast. We love it. But it's so easy to get caught up in this how much damage Meta is doing. While at the same time, they're getting VR to everyone, spreading it
Yeah.
around the world. But at the same time, because they made an $800 headset $300, PlayStation or Windows or HTC
Mhm.
can't make a competitive headset with them that should cost $800 and sell at $800. No one's going to buy it when the Quest
Right.
is so much less. Pico Neo 3 came out and it's $600 to $700, basically the same as a Quest. There's things that are better and all that, but that much more money, people aren't going to go pay that much more when they can get a comparable experience with the Quest 2. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's great that they've spread VR everywhere, but they cheapened it so much in effect, which
Yeah.
just hurts us.
Yeah. It's just a really double-edged sword because it's
Mhm.
great for it to be out there, it's great for it to become more mainstream, but we want to see innovations and we want to see things moving forward, and we don't want to see a full monopoly. I feel like Meta has enough of a monopoly on enough of stuff. Let's let some other businesses do some other stuff here.
Why let
Um,
other businesses get money when you can have all the money?
true. True.
Capitalism.
Because maybe they can think of something better, but then you just buy them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, There's definitely two sides of the coin. But yeah, that's a really good point that it's cool that Index is still holding on and still has a chunk of the market, but it's also really sad that it's the same headset from 3 years ago that, isn't as amazing now as it was then because it's been 3 years. So I feel like that's that.
Yep.
So let's move on to. I'm really excited about this next news piece, even though it is something that's on the Quest, but we can talk about like some other stuff with this one. So there's a startup, Immerse, that is having an app that's coming out on the Quest that, or I guess it is out, that wants to help people learn languages in a better
Okay.
way than apps like, Duolingo and stuff like that. A lot of people have those. But instead of just, learning vocabulary by rote and things like that, it's supposed to be a more immersive experience, where you're like in an environment and you're talking to actual people, and it's supposed to give you more of that like experience as if you're going to a country and speaking the language with people, to help you learn better, because they had a great video that was like, you're when language is about connecting with people, not about learning just the vocabulary, and without that connection you're not going to get it as much, which I can see. And so the thing that comes with this, though, is a hefty price tag of, for now, it's a $45 monthly membership fee, which
Whew.
is pretty significant. And then it's going to be up to $60 a month when they add more languages, because currently it's just English and Spanish. It does come with 12 live VR sessions per month, that are facilitated by an expert language guide.
Oh, so that's
24.
like real time.
Yes.
That makes the
Yes.
price more reasonable. Okay,
Oh,
what
yeah.
else?
And yeah, even just that. And also 24/7 access to a social lounge for live conversation practice,
Nice.
personalized feedback, and weekly events to build new community and cultural insights. So that's some of the stuff where, like, you can see in their video that it's like, instead of just talking about things related to restaurants or something, you're in like a restaurant environment. You're hearing the sounds that you would hear in a restaurant. You're seeing the things that you would see in a restaurant. So it's more true to life to help you really access that language better, rather than having it be kind of in a vacuum like a lot of language apps and even language classes. So I'm,
That's really cool.
yeah.
It's expensive, but I think to myself, if they really flesh out this app and have it really function like it sounds like it is or it should, then if I had to, be in Japan in 6 months, this would be the way to go. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
$45 per month. That's an investment, but this would probably be the fastest way, short of going and staying in Japan, to learn the language.
Mhm.
So that's really cool. The live lessons, the lounge, and everything. I really like that idea. But that price tag, I mean, unless someone has to be there soon and needs to learn it fast, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I can just do Duolingo. And then they're going to get there and not know hardly anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's a lot of live lessons, 12 a month. That's like 3 a week. So I feel like
Yeah.
this is like similar to like a college course.
Hmm.
Um and it has even more than that. So I feel like, it's probably cheaper than a college course.
Yeah. College courses are
So
expensive.
yeah. And it sounds really cool. I like that it has like the lounge where you can talk to people and practice, because that is scary. Actually
Hmm.
talking to people in another language. And I actually took 4 years of Spanish in high school, and I was like, ooh, I know some Spanish. And I tried to talk to someone one time and it did not
No.
go well.
No.
I was like, I like said one thing and then they said one thing back, and I'm like,
Yeah.
like, so yeah. And I think it definitely would help to have it be something where you're talking with other people, you have a facilitator, a person there that can guide you and, help you with your pronunciation and stuff like that. And it also sounds fun. which I think is also important because like there's like the meme of the Duolingo owl thing being like, Duolingo is sad because you haven't gone on the app in 45 days or whatever. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason that's a meme. It's because, you know, for a while you'll be on your language app and be doing well with it. And then you'll be like, this is freaking boring. And you'll stop. So, this, I think that's also one thing that's kind of good about the price point is that, you know, if you're paying for it, you're probably going to be more likely to use it because you don't want to just waste that money that you just spent. And so, although it is quite a lot and I mean, a lot of people wouldn't be able to afford that, it's something that could, you know, help people actually do it and be accountable. And there also are some free trials that are available. It's pretty new, so they want people to try it. So that's a nice thing too. You can start the free trial and then see like if it actually is good, if it actually does motivate you to do it. And if it's not, then don't do it.
I hope people try it because I want things like this in VR to succeed. I want it to be good and I want it to help people and I want people to talk about how this helped them learn a language and spread that, you know. That's where I want to go support these things when I hear about them, read about them, because it's VR has so much more power than just gaming. And people don't realize that, you know, they think, oh, this is just a video game console. No, you could change your life with VR, and we need these kinds of apps to help people see that that's an option. But we can still game on it. So let's talk about some VR games. But first, I have a question for you out there. Where is your VR headset sitting right now? Is it on the floor? Please tell me it's not. Is it in the box it came in, or does it have a beautiful throne like it deserves? Because if you don't have a beautiful throne, you need to check out AsterionProducts.com. There's a link in the description, a link in the show notes. You can go there, use code FULLDIVE to save $5 off any order, $19.99 or more. And that means you can get your own Aura VR headset stand that has a beautiful glow that makes people who come over go, hey, what is that sitting there? That's my VR headset stand on its beautiful stand. Check them out. Use code FULLDIVE on Amazon. So we've been playing a game called Cookout, a sandwich tale. Nat, what is this?
So we've talked before about, there was some other game, I can't even remember what it's called now because this one's so much better. Mean. But this really is like, oh my gosh, I just had the name of the game and then I forgot. Overcooked. Thank you. This one really is like Overcooked in VR. It is a game where you're on like a team. You can also play by yourself, but you can play with others where you are making sandwiches and sending them out to your patrons, basically. That's the gist of it.
It's kind of like a restaurant simulator.
Yeah, and it quite is a restaurant simulator at some points. When you play certain modes, it can feel a little not as fun and a little more worky. But if you play it in like, there's like relax mode or something like that, it's fun. The just for fun mode. It is just fun. You have like these ingredients that come up, you grab them, you chop them, you make your little sandwich, you talk with your teammates and work together, which is the fun part. And they also have some different kinds of patrons that are there. You just have the normal people that are like I think they're like rats or mice or something that you give. And then you have cats that are picky, and then you have wolves that are super hungry. So there's different things that you have to think about. It can get kind of stressful, but it's very fun. What were your initial thoughts on this game?
Well, you get in, and basically, of course, you have orders as the customers walk up. And so one might be they want the rye bread with cheese on it. So you have to grab this, you have to press this button that opens up your cooler, and you got to grab the loaf of bread and you got to slice it really quick into a slice, and you set it on your plate, and you got to grab the cheese, slice up the cheese, set it on the plate, get it all ready, and serve it out. The game is meant to foster this like teamwork between everybody there. So each person's station has different ingredients, and there's this rotating table in the middle where you can like set the sandwich down and it'll slowly roll over to the other side. I think if the game was a little slower, that teamwork element would be a little more present. But the problem is you're so frantically trying to make
Mm,
these sandwiches to order quickly that it's like you just shout out one thing and then they like the other, you're like ham, and the other person cuts up some ham really fast. And they reach way over and slap it on this thing. You don't wait for that sandwich to come around to you. You don't set the ingredient down for the other person, let it roll over to them. No, you're in such a hurry that you're just like throwing stuff around. You're trying to move really fast. And it adds some extra layers to it because there's like potions you can get where you can, like,
mm,
for one round, you can pour a potion on your knife and everything will be a one chop to chop it, or a potion that fixes an ingredient for you or something. So there's all these different layers to it in that way. But the thing about it, and we're going to actually do a full review episode coming up on this, so we'll go more in depth there. But the thing about the game that got to me after a while, I really liked it at first. I really had fun in the lower levels, but the harder it got, the more it felt like I was managing a Starbucks again.
oh
And like
no.
and like I was just working. It's not like you're sitting there pressing buttons like you are the overcooked, relaxed on your couch. I was
Mhm.
standing up. I was reaching way over to other coolers to grab ingredients. I was slicing them up. I was having to rearrange the plate because I didn't align something just right. And it was work to make this stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, the game's available on Steam and on Quest. On Steam, it's on sale right now for 15. It's $20 on Quest. We haven't finished it yet, and I want to finish it, play some more before the review. But it definitely,
Mhm.
if you're playing it just for fun with friends and you're laughing and having a good time, it's fun. But this perfectionist comes out in me when I'm playing this kind of game. So I want to
Mm.
get 3 stars. I want to do
Yeah.
everything right. And it starts to become almost more stressful than it is fun.
Mhm. I got to that point too. Yeah. It's really fun, like you said, at the lower levels when you're just chilling, you don't have to go too fast. And when you have the time, because I feel like the essence of the game is the teamwork and the communication. And so when you actually have time to do that, I think it's really nice because I feel like it would be a great game for people to play as like a team building thing at work or something
Mm-hmm.
like that because you have to talk to each other. You have to make sure that you're, looking at what's going on and then coordinating with the other person. Um so I think that's a really nice element of the game. There was one thing I was thinking when we were playing it is like I wonder if in the future there will be like robots that control all the stuff in these jobs that people have like working at a fast food restaurant or something, but if you still needed a person behind it to operate it, if they'll just like put on a VR headset and like play a game, but they're actually going to be serving actual customers and maybe people will actually like it. If you only had to do that for a couple hours and you were like, "Oh man, how many can I get out and how many stars can I get for making sure everything's perfect?" Like, is that the future of work?
Yeah. Maybe robots will be doing jobs, but they won't be, autonomous. Maybe we're controlling them through VR across the world and still getting paid from that. It
We
goes
can all
through a
be
whole
like,
nother.
I was gonna say we can all be like Tina in that episode of Bob's Burgers where she's a like a robot walking through the school. Like,
Yeah, FaceTiming through an iPad or something. Yeah, it also goes to another question of like how come things like this can be fun when it feels like work? Well, you're doing it when you want for how long you want. So maybe if we only all had to work an hour a day for our job, maybe there would be such thing as a miserable job because you only have to do
mm-hmm.
it for an hour.
Yeah.
We'll go in further on one of our episodes of the review that's coming up on this, so watch out for that if you want to hear more. Pistol Whip got another update, as they do, another free DLC update. Do you want to talk about what this new update does to the game, what it adds to it?
We'll see how good I'll be at summarizing. So there's the contracts update. So it has contracts that you can choose from. There's daily. I kind of think of it as like challenges,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like a contract because it's kind of like it's very John Wick esque. Like you have this mission kind of thing. They have daily ones and weekly ones and monthly ones, which is basically just like the same levels that you've done, but in a different way, kind of. And they have somewhere like it's some of the levels like put together. So you're not like choosing, oh, I'm gonna do this one, I'm gonna do this one. It's like they're strung together, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
cool. And then there's also some new weapons updates. Do you want to talk about those?
Well, yeah. So, and I guess we didn't say what Pistol Whip is. If there's anyone out there who doesn't know,
Oh,
Pistol Whip is a
sorry.
rhythm-based shooter where there's music. You have a gun in one hand or in each hand, and you're propelled through a level to the beat of the music, shooting at people who are trying to shoot at you. Well, in contracts now, as Nat was mentioning, you've got these new, basically it's challenges. They're naming it something else and making it seem cool, but it's basically daily and weekly kind of challenge things. And the challenge varies. You can no longer choose the difficulty, it's chosen for you. And they choose modifiers. So sometimes it's headshots only, or sometimes it's they have double armor, or sometimes it's dead eye, where your aim assist is turned off and you have to actually shoot accurately. And they pair different ones of these together with different guns to make kind of create a little narrative. But really, the thing about the update, what it's doing, it's taking everything the game already has and making challenge levels out of it with different modifiers. And yes, they added a few new weapons and a few new modifiers, but they didn't add any new levels. They didn't add a new campaign. It really is just something for those who are getting a little tired of Pistol Whip, or it's a little stale, or maybe you're trying to use it as a fitness challenge. It's something to get you in it and keep you engaged and going each day, rather than just going back to, okay, here's the same song that I've done 100 times. Let me do it again and try and see if I can get a little better score. It's forcing you to explore more avenues of the game, which I think is cool. And then it has its own leaderboards for that to see how you're doing against friends out there. But honestly, when Pistol Whip drops a DLC, normally it's something big. So for me, this felt a little underwhelming, or maybe even a little gimmicky, just because it wasn't really something new. It was a new way of looking at the same game that's already there.
That's true. Yeah, I was really excited when this was announced. And then when I went in, I was like, oh, this is cool. But, it'd be really fun if there was a new campaign. Although I didn't like the last one. maybe they were sad and heartbroken. I don't know. I'm sure some people liked the last Westerny campaign, but I don't know if it was as well received as the first one.
I definitely don't think overall it was, because their first one was epic, and the Western one was fine. So contracts, it's not a bad thing. It's free. So, I mean, you can't say don't buy it because it's free. But I was just kind of hoping when I heard contracts, and they actually sent us a merch box of theirs to promote this.
It's a really cool merch box.
Yeah, the merch box is amazing. But I thought, when you accept the contract, there'd be some hit mission at the end with some boss or something on each contract or something. And there's nothing like that. You're still playing the same levels you've played before. And so to me, it's okay, what is this? It's just challenges. The contracts isn't really a great name for it in my mind. I would love to see them flesh this out a little better. Maybe the end of each challenge, they have some short mini level where you chase down the person you've been trying to take out this whole time, or something that just adds that feel of am I a hitman? Am I an assassin? Or am I just playing Pistol Whip with some new modifiers?
Yeah. Fair. It is cool that it's free. I love that developers will add these free things onto games and make them, refreshed and cool and get people to keep playing them. So I really do appreciate that. That is nice.
If you have been playing this DLC or Cookout and you want to come talk to us, come join our Discord server. We've had some more people join lately talking to us about what games are going on. And of course, that's where we get our Q&A questions from. You can be there influencing the future of the podcast. We got another new patron as well. If you want to support us on Patreon, thank you so much. We want to say thank you to Virtual Reality Check, who joined the Patreon. We got another member over there.
Aww, so nice.
The Patreon is basically covering our operating costs, which is great, because then our sponsor can go to more equipment that we need, more to develop the future of the podcast, which supposedly we are one of the top VR podcasts out there. So thank you, all of you, for helping us get to that point. Obviously, if you are listening to it, consider checking us out on YouTube. We get a lot more attention on the audio side than the YouTube side, but we do put in some work on the video side. So while we're talking, you can see some trailers of what we're talking about. You can see our faces, so feel free to check us out there.
Consider rating, reviewing, and subscribing to our podcast. It really helps bring our podcast to more people. So yeah, we'd love a good review.
Speaking of helping us get up there in that number one spot. But thank you so much for listening. If you've been out there, you've been listening and thinking about VR, it's time to just dive on in.